Hello everybody, welcome back to Aurora 4X. Let's continue our campaign here, the EarthCorp campaign. As you can see, I've got the galaxy map open. Now, in the last episode, I promised that we would have an update when we were ready to move to the next phase of our combat, of our potential invasion. And I'm going to try to fit that into this episode, but it has been quite a bit of playtime since then. So let me first give you an update on the status of our sort of civilian efforts, our commercial efforts, I guess, since we're a corporation here trying to expand throughout the known galaxy. So let me start by showing you the galaxy map. I think you've seen most of these systems. But if not, let me show you some of the newer ones, at least now that they've been surveyed. So here we have Champala, which is a quaternary, but the binary is not too far away from the primary. And in fact, here, let me actually just show you the system. Here we go. I don't know if I showed the system to you guys. So here we have the primary with its companion star somewhere. No, this is the companion star, Champala D, around Champala A. Then out here we have Champala B. So it's about 16 billion kilometers from Champala A. And then it has Champala C, which orbits it. And as it turns out, Champala A has a few interesting planets. We haven't yet done a ground survey here, but there are some moons here that have minerals, and there's stuff that's colonizable. Not like an amazing combination so far of minerals and colonizability, but potentially. This one here is a temperate forest. Would be fantastic if not for the fact that the gravity is simply too high for us. But otherwise, it's a massive planet with a hydrosphere and oxygen and everything. But what's interesting is that there's a lot of potential here around Champala C, where we have, for example, this swamp planet, which just needs to be cooled down a little bit, and decent mineral deposits. And then a terrestrial here that could also be terraformed, and whatnot. And in order to get there, it turns out there was there were a couple of systems. So I don't remember if I stabilized this or if it was stabilized, but we stabilized a Lagrange point out here. Now, this is a terrestrial, so we went out and stabilized it, because 16 billion kilometers isn't too bad for one of our network ships, the network class construction ship. And yeah, so we just went out there and stabilized the jump point. I think in here we had a jump point already from one of the gas giants. And so now that has totally bridged the gap between these two, and we could definitely go and colonize that system, those planets. So that's a cool thing that has happened in this system. Let's see. Elsewhere, we're exploring here the Batterine system. Also a quaternary. Also looks like there's some interesting planets. Now here, unfortunately, the binary is 153 billion kilometers from the primary. And Batterine C here, which orbits Batterine B, although these are the ones that have nice potential colonies on them, there's not going to be a Lagrange point. Although I say that, maybe there is one already. Let's go double check. I forget already. Batterine. Oh, wait. I think the issue here is that there's nothing to... Yeah, Batterine A and B, there's simply no bodies here to stabilize anything. So even if there were Lagrange points out here, which there very well may be, it's going to be 150 billion kilometers out there. So this is a pretty useless system for us. Moving along, we're exploring the system of Mrlst, which is very short on vowels. Binary system, the distance 54 billion kilometers. Let's go take a look. I think it might be Lagrange pointable. Oh yeah, for sure. In fact, there's already a Lagrange point out here, which is fantastic. So now what we'd have to double check is if in the inner system the planets are sort of massive enough to to stabilize a Lagrange point in a reasonable amount of time. Absolutely. Okay, so all of these planets therefore are accessible to us. So we're still waiting for, a mineral survey here, but this looks pretty promising. This jungle here looks kind of nice. Okay, so that's another cool system. Moving along up here, out of Workser, we're studying the Aten system. And a lot of these were, oh no, wait, this is Sol. Sorry, Aten, there we go. So looks like, I don't remember checking this out, so let's check this out together. Let's see, a Venusian over here, a large moon. This is actually pretty decent minerals. It's tide locked, but it's a fairly small body, so it wouldn't be too hard to terraform this. And just high accessibility minerals, so definitely worth considering. Let me just create a colony here so I remember. Another Venusian. Then we have another planet here with good deposits of uridium. 2.3 colony costs. A fairly large planet. Would take a bit of doing, but we have ice sheets, so hydrography isn't going to be too much of an issue. Let's flag that. Then there's a terrestrial here. Not amazing minerals, but again, we have an ice sheet. We already have nitrogen, oxygen. This just needs to be, wow, what a massive planet. This just needs to be warmed up a bit, I think. This is breathable. Because the criteria are the oxygen has to be at least 0.1, 0.1, 2.3. So we might have to remove a bit of oxygen. But this, which will take some doing because of the mass of the planet. But wow, that's a really exciting planet to colonize. Let's flag that. Okay, low gravity moon here. Sure. Another terrestrial. One day maybe. Tidal lock, but still can hold 10 billion people. But the minerals aren't that great. Over here, oh wow. Well, the quantity isn't great, but decent amount of corbamite, and this is all very high accessibility. Pretty cool. Out here, 2 more small terrestrials with ice sheets. There's a lot of really nice potential colonies here that could fairly easily be terraformed. That's really cool. Okay, we're gonna have to keep this system in mind. I didn't realize how interesting some of these colonies were. Now we have the Barlock system. I think we had to interrupt our geosurvey here halfway because the ship had to return back to base to get overhauled. But once again, we have some planets here that could certainly be terraformed just by virtue of them being pretty small and the temperature ranges being quite reasonable. But no big mineral deposits. We'll have to see if any of these other bodies in the system turn out to be interesting. Now here in Glee Anselm, we have a trinary system, but all 3 stars are really close. So the binary here orbits at 3.4 billion, which is pretty close. Here we have a Venusian around the primary with the potential for more minerals. We'll have to find out. Then on Anselm B, we have 2 terrestrials that could be terraformed. I should say that have low colony cost. Now, this one's a little big. Terraforming will take some doing, and it is tidal locked, so the maximum population won't be enormous. However, this one stands out because it has zero point 0.8 accessibility Gallicite. And Gallicite is becoming an issue. Well, it's always been an issue because we need it to produce maintenance supplies. And we're kind of running a bit low on maintenance supplies. So if we look here, our at the not industry, I want logistics. Uvina forward station. We're at, a bit over a third MSP left on our forward deployment. And we've got on Earth about 260 MSP. So we're kind of producing roughly the same amount. We're producing, I think, a bit less than we're consuming. But we don't really have the luxury. We don't have like a huge excess of Gallicite. I mean, we have a bit of a stockpile built up, but we are running through it. So I'm not going to have a choice. I'm going to have to increase production. In fact, while I'm here, let me just add another, let's say 150 maintenance facilities, just to increase the production rate. Yeah. So for that reason, this colonizing out here is going to be a priority, just to get this colony going for the Gallicite. And then over here we have even more planets, another mineral planet here with, I guess, Corbomite, which could potentially be terraformed. Although this is really cold, might actually, although the colony cost is low, the temperature is so cold, it's not clear we will be able to terraform it. Oh no, not with this albedo. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not. So albedo is it's a property of sort of properly related to how much light is reflected. And if it is low, it means that it reflects a lot of light, which means that in other words, a planet, basically a color of the planet, reflects too much light, and so not enough of the incoming sunlight is absorbed and heats up the atmosphere with the help of the greenhouse effect. So if I pump this full of greenhouse gases, the greenhouse factor will increase, leading to an increase in temperature. But that is multiplied by the albedo factor. So if the albedo factor is below 1, my greenhouse effect is going to be diminished. And when we need to warm things up like 200 degrees, there's a hard cap to how much greenhouse factor you can have of 3 in the game. And that multiplied by a smaller albedo factor, this small, makes it very unlikely we're going to be able to terraform this so that the temperature becomes reasonable. We could get close. The other thing you can do is you can cheat. You can go and edit the details of the planet. And sometimes I think that can be reasonable in the sense that, like, I can imagine, like, this is the future. This is science fiction. We're imagining that I have huge stations, space stations, that are like completely filtering out the atmosphere of a planet in a matter of a couple of years. There's a lot of great hard science fiction. One of my favorite authors, Kim Stanley Robinson, who wrote the Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars series trilogy, several, maybe 2 decades ago, 3. Actually, the first one was maybe released in the 80s and the 90s. And he's written several novels since. Some of them are kind of part of that universe. Anyways, great writer of hard science fiction. Talks a lot about terraforming, and like there's no reason you couldn't also change the albedo of a planet. That's not a feature in the game. But you can conceive that at some cost you could, just literally paint the planet to absorb more heat. And in fact, we have run into this situation in the Sol system on Titan. So Titan has reached... I took out all the nitrogen. I don't know why. I just set it to 0 and forgot about it. And now there's no more nitrogen. But we've replaced basically all the atmosphere with astusium, which is the magic greenhouse gas. But that only got us up to minus 23. We need to get a little bit warmer. But we've already reached the maximum greenhouse factor with our albedo factor for the planet being 1.009. And that is not enough to get us over the finish line here. So what I might do is to simulate the fact that it takes a bit of time. I'll leave the terraforming stations around doing nothing for, I don't know, a year or two, and then I'll go and manually edit the albedo factor a bit higher. That'll finish the terraforming. I feel like that's a fair, not just giving it to myself for no cost. I'm assuming the terraformers are doing that work. Incidentally, there is a feature in the game that was in the previous version of Aurora, VB Aurora, which was a genetic modification which allows you to create new races. And it is intended for this version of the game, but he hasn't yet added. He decided to cut that feature for now just to get the new version, the C# version, out and bug fixed. When that gets added to the game later, you'd be able to kind of manufacture a new race of humans that's better suited to certain environmental conditions, so that would reduce the need for terraforming. Okay, anyways, let's finish. Here there's the Aline system. Looks like we haven't quite finished surveying this, although there is a lot of gallicite here, but this is going to be a little rough to colonize because it's 1,000 degrees, literally 1,000 degrees. And the Yablari system, which, let's see, quaternary system, but only one of the moons has anything interesting. And the colonizable planets don't really have minerals, and there are 3 Venusians here. Yeah, not super exciting. Finally, we have the Equine system, which we've already colonized. I think I've shown you guys this system before. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have. I'm pretty sure we've looked at it. A system I'm very excited about. So we've already set up our first colony here, just because this was going to be, I think, I don't know why I chose this colony as our first colony. We want to actually set up a colony. Where was it? I think here. Yeah, for the Bornide. This was definitely... Oh yeah, we're already terraforming this. We're terraforming this planet in anticipation of us setting up a colony here. So I've got terraformers in orbit. That's why there's a Stusium here. So we're trying to warm this place up. And I think that's the main goal for that system for now. Okay, anyways, so that's that for our colonization and our terraforming efforts. Let me, I guess, just show you here. We have we have Haumea set up. Did we set up the mines here? We did. Good. But I don't think we set up mines here. No, we did not. So we'll do that eventually. But I've built the orbital stations to house 20 million people. Some of them are still being shuttled out. They're mostly still around Earth because the tugs are busy doing other things. Then we have the Jovian moons and Titan and Luna and Mercury and Mars. Mars has so much construction capacity that it can't make mines fast enough to keep up with demand. So we're just having to click through a lot of warnings about it, but I'm too lazy to actually fix it. Significant, populations now in the Bestine system. I kind of want to send mines here, but on the other hand, it's like just for duranium, and those mines are probably better off on Mars right now, helping to make more mines. These planets were colonized not because they had potential long-term mineral benefits, but also just because they were kind of like, we needed to have people on other worlds, and we just need to grow the population there, and they're kind of terraformable. Aikiba does have mines set up. It's got 229 for some reason, because it does have great accessibility for several minerals. So this is a very efficient planet to have mines on. And we're actually using the sorium here. I set up some fuel refineries, so we're building up a fuel reserve on the planet. And what I've also done is, so there's a gas giant here in Aikiba that has a pretty bad accessibility, but I've put a fuel harvester here anyways, because that bad accessibility gas combined with the bad accessibility sodium and a few fuel refineries is hopefully going to be enough to build up a reasonable amount of fuel. And we have a refueling station on the colony itself, and then we have a tanker running from the fuel harvester to the colony to unload fuel there. And then I've also set up a fuel harvesting base on the Bridgia 2 gas giant, which has very good accessibility sodium. And the idea is I wanted to deploy some military presence up this wing here through Yaga Minor to Aikiba, Keegan, Bridgia, and all the way to Workson. Because a while back we found the Isolian aliens in the Va system. The Va system has a lot of potential. We only surveyed one body, and already it was pretty good. Great source of boronite. And there's, probably more here that'll be interesting. And as we're moving up this way to the Isolian system, we do want to start to contain these aliens in other systems. We haven't seen any sign of them through Workson. But I am actually building and have already deployed some stations to make a mini version of the Uvina forward station. So we've got a recreation ship. We're going to set a fuel base as well as a maintenance base. No missiles, no ordnance transfer station. I think we're going to make this a small squad of just energy weapon based ships, because I'm not expecting to deal with a full fleet from them. And also, our energy ships are now much faster because we use ion drives. So a small detachment of energy-based ships, out of one Duro station will be set up here. But to get there, my ships only have like 12 billion kilometer range, roughly. So you can see we can make it to Aikiba. Then we have to refuel. And then from Aikiba to make it to Workson, depending on where I put it, it's going to be really tight. So I want to be able to go from Aikiba to Bridgia, refuel there, and then head out to Workson. So we're just setting up these intermediary stations along the way. And that's because, if I was sending one big fleet out, I could send it with tankers and whatever and just make the long journey. But imagine that I want to send, reinforcements of a small detachment of a few ships, then, I don't want to have complicated logistics each time. I just want to be able to issue orders like go here, refuel at the station, go here, refuel at the station, go there. That kind of thing. Yeah, that's what's going on in Aikiba. And yeah, in Barseg, we've got... there's something I have to check in Barseg. So here we have... Barseg is our Gallicite mining colony, doing its thing. Finally has enough workers to work all the mines as the population has grown. But I'd like to get even more workers here and more mines because we're still pretty short on Gallicite. Nearby we still have Error Planet. That always gives us the error when we click on it. Nothing too special going on here. It's colony cost 0. Now, there is something, though, that I terraformed another planet in that system, Barseg 3. Is that complete? Yeah, it is. So I kind of expected people to settle here now that it is colonized. Let's see. I wonder why. It's possible there are people on the way. Yeah, it's not going to show up as terraforming sites because I took away the terraformers. It's just like ready for people. How about civilian destination? Everything's all set. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to actually force people to go there. Let's take the colony fleet, which fortunately I did refit at some point. Let's just load a few people from IO. And let's just go to Barseg 3 and drop them off. we're not going to loop this. We're just going to do it once, and that should get the ball rolling. Actually, something we should also check is, did we deploy ground troops there? Yeah, we already have ground troops waiting for there to be a colony there. Okay. And finally, anything else? Kermia is doing fine. Just things are growing there. Belasco, the very old system that we colonized, just kind of chilling. Elrude is another planet here where I don't think we can do much with the environment. The albedo is less than 1. We've got an atmosphere of almost pure astucium, and we just can't get it past like 150 degrees Celsius. So minus 150 degrees Celsius. So this was something, I guess I didn't read I must have like misread the lines on the on the planet. I didn't realize how unterraformable it was, because we've been trying hard to terraform this place, but it was a wasted effort. I was hoping that this place would be my source of gallicite, because it also has gallicite and boronite, but yeah, we'll just have to make do with this terrible suitability cost, because that's life. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about what we're doing here in the Aeolian system. So, we have in the Uvina system, Uvina Fleet 2. Not Uvina Fleet, I don't know why Uvina Fleet 3. I guess that'll be part of the deployment we send in the other direction. Uvina Fleet 2, which the thing that I was waiting for to send out this expedition I was waiting for two things. One thing was a fully trained capital class command ship, and it took a while to train it, and then it had to go through maintenance and overhaul. So it is finally fully trained and ready to go. Now, this fleet has not a lot of export class strike cruisers, but I'm confident we have enough PD capability with the Resolutes that we have and their diminished offensive capability. We're not going to be in range of their of their missiles anyways, so this will be enough. Although we have to rearm this, so why don't we do that right now? Uvina forward stations, load ordnance at transfer hub. Okay. Then the other condition was to have our dropships full of troops. So we do. We have a total of 13 dropships. And, I've divided so I've got like 10 dropships here in this fleet that are transporting the 85th Divisional Command, which is leading an army of about 100,000 tons worth of troops. And I've also got some reinforcements here in my 3 other dropships. More supplies and another armored and another mechanized deployments. Now, these are actually commercial vessels that are about 30,000 tons each, so I actually needed a commercial jump capability of that tonnage. My military jump ships, the Outreach, can only jump 20,000 tons. I happen to have made a ship, which I don't know if I've shown you. I might have, but let me just show it to you again. A salvager, which is called the Reclamation. The Reclamation class is about 60,000 tons. And what it is it's got a bunch of salvage modules on it. No cargo bay. You need cargo bays to salvage, but it can salvage directly into the cargo bay of another ship in your fleet, so you can send along just regular freighters with this, which is the plan. But of course, we might be salvaging in enemy territory that hasn't been stabilized yet. So this ship is equipped with a big commercial jump drive, which can jump a lot of tonnage, whatever. It can jump itself. So it can act as a jump tender for my dropships. So I have deployed one of these to come out to the jump point, wherever the jump point is, over here. And you can actually see it's on the way. The dropships are here. The Reclamation is here. When it gets there, we'll jump together. Well, we'll bring the fleet. So we're actually just moments away from jumping back into the Aeolian system. So let's go ahead and do that live. And then honestly, what we're going to do is we're going to probably end the episode. Well, maybe we'll do the naval combat, see if we can squeeze that into this recording, and then we'll see about the ground combat. Like I said, I've actually never done ground combat for reals in Aurora C Sharp. Well, not that it existed in previous versions of Aurora. So that'll be a process of discovery for all of us. Okay. Oh, why is there a terraformer just kind of chilling? Oh, this is so wrong. Oh, what happened here? All right. We got a lot of terraformers here. This is bad and wrong. We need to, we've decided we can't terraform Elrud, so we got to fix this. And let's do that right now. So we have to fix, let's see, it's 6, 9, 10, and 14. We got to get out of there. Now, first of all, let's decide where we're going to put him. What's reasonably close to Elrud that needs a bit of work? I mean, actually, I'm starting to stabilize Gliansum, and that would be a good place to work. But in the meantime, where would we go? Let's, I mean, we could do Workson. Yeah, let's go to Workson, and that'll be a good jumping off point. Oh, by the way, we might not have talked about Worksin. Let's just go take a look at that system. Workser, not Worksin. We have a Lagrange point here, and we have a Lagrange point there. So I just haven't yet sent an Intrepid class to go survey this. Let's take a quick look. What are our Intrepids up to? Sorry, we keep getting sidetracked here, but that's the nature of... That's what happens when you play this game. So in Batuin, in Merst, in Yablari, and in Gliansum. Okay, so Gliansum can... Oh, I've actually already got the orders set. Okay, so we do have an Intrepid that's going to come and geosurvey that part of the system. Okay, now what we need to check is if we have any available tugs. So let's go down to, first of all, the ones that are here. Let's see what these are up to. Okay, this one's in Bolesco. This guy's heading to... Okay, this guy's moving citadels. Oh, this guy's moving the last terraformer from Barsig to Uquine. So these are all kind of in the west. This guy's moving the fuel harvesting base to Brygia. And this one is in Bestine. Okay, I might use the Bestine one and the Bolesco one here. You know, we just need to queue up more because you just need so many of these. Okay, I guess this guy was waiting like near one of the asteroid miners, but that's maybe a lower priority right now. So let's have you, first of all, let's have you move, I guess, go to Seoul. Refuel. Then head to Elrud. Fleets. We'll have you do 6. And then head to Workser and release the tractored ship. And let's let that be that. Then over here there was one in Bestine. Yeah, let's have you kind of do the same thing. What's your fuel situation? 84. That hopefully will be enough. Elrud. Fleets, let's let you do 9. And then head out to Workser. Okay, and now we might have a few more tugs here in Big Ion Tugs. This one is still doing work, but how about this one? Yeah, we got 2 more here. Okay, that's all we need. So let's have you... Oh, sorry. Let's have you do that. Elrude, do the 10. And then head out to Workser. Oh, not Uvina. Misclick there. Workser. Release the tractor ships. And last one will do the same thing. Often when I do this, I like to set the last order. I'll show you on this one. I like to do this. Tractor any ship. Then I'll go to Workser. And then I'll set the orders to head back to Earth and rejoin the Big Ion Tugs fleet, just so I don't end up with stranded tugs doing nothing all over the place. But in this specific case, I want them to end up there so that I can see what their fuel levels are at, and in case I need to, go save them, and also maybe redeploy them once they're there to, like, Glianselm and the other neighboring systems. So I'm on purpose letting them end up all in this system, all 4 tugs, even though I'll probably send at least 2 of them back to the Sol system. Okay, let's do a quick save here. And incidentally, this is what the event log is showing. So this is what prompted me to do this, was because we put all the Astusium wherever we're going to put here in Elrude, and it's not doing anything else. Unrest in Makemake is just because... Oh, we lost that screen. Is just because I haven't sent troops there yet, and they're on their way, though. Things have been queued up, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so let's go back to Uvina and monitor the progress here. Fleet 2 has completed its orders. What was Fleet 2? Oh, this is the training fleet, and I had it like a refuel and resupply. Oh, training is almost done here. Very cool. Jump point was detected in Batterine, not Batouine, but Batterine. Okay, another tug kind of made it back to Earth, not super relevant. Okay, drop ships have made it, but we still need the reclamation to get there. Also, we are still loading ordnance, I believe. Oh no, we're done loading ordnance, so I think we're kind of done here with these guys. The outreach, we're going to need to send an outreach to make this jump happen. The outreach 4 was back at Earth for minor repairs. We can send one of the other outreaches. For example, we could send outreach 1. So why don't you head over to the jump point, and let's have the fleet also head over to the jump point. But we're just going to have it move there for now. We're going to wait for the commercial ships. We're going to jump everything together. It'll be nice and dramatic. The fleet, of course, gets there instantly, so we still need a bit of time. We can chill a bit. I probably should not have sent it so prematurely, because we're just spending days running down our maintenance clock out here in space, but that's okay. Reclamation is almost back. By the way, these colliers, I had them on automatic transfer of missiles from Sol to here, but we haven't been producing missiles in Sol for a while, and they were just empty, so I canceled their repeated orders, so they will stop doing that now. Okay, anything relevant? Maximum fleet training. Yeah, so our training fleet has actually almost completed the training of most of these ships. But to save myself micro, I'm not going to swap it out yet. I'm just going to wait until all these this class of exports is done, and then I'll send them all to maintenance at the same time. Okay, it looks like maybe 15 more days. Okay. Okay, the reclamation is there. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to have dropships join as a subfleet the Uvina fleet too. So we're going to join as subfleet. And we're going to actually do the same thing with dropships too. Join as subfleet. Okay, let's just kind of affect that change right now. Now, if we look at Uvina Fleet 2, maybe I needed an update here. Yeah, there they are. Okay, they're here. So in theory, actually, okay, so we need to do now movement orders. Let's actually turn all the active sensors on. And let's transit. So let's do that. Here's the Solian system. Here is the fleet. Okay, now we're going to move the whole fleet together, escorting the dropships. So obviously we're moving at a reduced speed because we're moving at the speed of the dropships, but that's okay. So it'll be a bit of a dramatic entrance, but I think it makes sense that we would escort our fleet. Now, in theory, we're now able to operate at our maximum range with our missiles. So because last time we were here, we knocked out all of their long-range missile capability, but you never know. They might have rebuilt it. So, oh, these guys are all like not set up. That's an issue. Okay, let's take care of that right here. So auto fire. Oh God, that's awful. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. Well, we gotta do a bit more micro here. So, hang on. Okay, this is the PD gun. The ECCM actually needs to be on the long-range guns. That's sort of their purpose. Let's put the particle beams down here. Let's put the microwaves up here. Oh, I only put one ECCM on the ships. And I forgot that they get assigned to specific beam controls. That's okay. We can adjust, we can like script the ECCM to go to either fire control depending on what we need. But this is okay. Point defense. Final defensive fire. Final defensive fire, final defensive fire. Okay. This is good. So let's assign... Actually, let's assign all, because all the export class ships should have the same kind of setup. Good. Let's do these guys. Damn, yeah, that's really dumb, because I only have one ECCM. I totally forgot about that. Well, we can actually... I don't need to split... Like, I can just... Okay, where are the weapons, guys? Like, I'm double checking that the mission that the ship actually has weapons, and it does. So that's kind of weird. Huh. I don't know what heading they were under that they weren't showing up, but anyways, we fixed it. Yeah, we can just put everything on one missile fire control with the ECCM for now, and truly use this as a backup. Although this is useful when we want to split damage between two different vessels. It's less micro to assign to the fleet instead of doing like half and half of the ships. But let's just do that for now. That works. Oh, we need to... Yeah, the missiles are correctly assigned, so all of that is good. And then the resolutes... Yes, also not set up. Good thing we checked this, because that would have been really bad. Final offensive fire, good. Assign all the ships like that should be all set. Okay, good. I'm glad we avoided that potential disaster. So, the reason I came here was because I wanted to check the range on the missiles, which I'd forgotten. So, but I do not see that here. So I need to check on this screen where I just was. The fire control can shoot at 162, but the missiles travel 73. So let's go to 70 million kilometers. Let's do that for now. So we can definitely do a few days, a few 5-day increments, because as you'll see, 5 days doesn't quite, especially now that we're traveling at reduced dropship speed. Yeah, 5 days only gets us this far. So it'll take about a month at this speed. So there might be a few construction ticks that have some news for us. No, nothing here. The ticks now are running quite slowly. I haven't really bothered to investigate what that could be about. Based on anecdotal reading that I did, it might have to do with the large number of commanders that I have now, and it's checking sort of for their health status and promotions all the time. We finished some research. I didn't talk about our research state, but I've been working on. I'm trying to get like everything below 15K researched, and right now I'm working on defensive technology, and I'm doing shields, but now also cloaking, and it's just to get. Because honestly, it's a bit because I don't know what I want to do next in terms of research. I mean, there's a lot of ideas, but I like the idea of researching a bit more uniformly than really deep in certain areas. And so that's sort of a good way to, like, I don't have to make a decision. I'm just going to fill out that research tree a little bit, and then we'll see. And honestly, that'll put us in a good position to respond to, the outcome of this engagement, whatever happens. Okay, we can now, I think, detach these guys. Get them out of training. Put them in Soul Patrol and order them to refuel, resupply, begin overhaul. Okay, at least one more 5-day tick. Let's see. So we're still, yeah. So it says ETA 9 days. So we got time. We'll do another 5-day, and then we'll do a few 1-day ticks because now we're at 4 days, right? So, oh no, we still had 6 days. Damn. Well, let's just do 1-day ticks here. It doesn't make sense that the processing time would have to do with admirals if we're only doing 1-day ticks, because that stuff is checked in on the construction cycles, which are on 5 days. So interesting. Okay, it should interrupt me. Yeah. It did. Okay, so we have a much larger range on our detection now because of our capital ship. It has a really massive sensor, which is cool. Now let's go into like 8-hour increments here as we make our final approach. Because we're 170 kilometers, million kilometers out still. And we'll go to 3 hours. We have, oh, now we've picked up their active sensor signature. It's actually got 2 sensors on that ship. I believe this is a rebuilt ship, the Spiridonov 2. We'll check in just a second. I just want to make sure I set the correct order here. Yeah, A2, follow. We're basically almost there. Let's actually double check something here. If we wanted to shoot, could we? So our range here has to be within 57 million kilometers. So our ECC, oh no, we can shoot at 71. Interesting. So I think this is, okay, interesting. Because I think this includes the ECM. So it might be, actually there's something we can check right now. We could check if I, for example, brought this missile over here. Could I target here? No, it also says that, Interesting. I'm actually not sure why here it's saying 57 million, whereas here it in theory says I can shoot at 73 million. We'll actually probably just test it, and that we'll try to shoot. What do we know about the Spiridonov? Because it's been a little bit for me. It had ECM, but we have more than enough ECCM to make up for it. So we should be able to fire at max range. All right, look, let's just move into max range. The other thing I'm curious about is whether or not we're going to be able to pick up any intelligence. Yeah, I think we did. That's what happened. We did over commit a little bit. I'm just kind of being a little inefficient here, but all right. Yeah, I thought we kind of moved in a little bit deep. That should be good enough now. We should I might want to calculate to what extent, at what distance I'm going to be able to observe, to use my SIGINT, my signals intelligence, to get data on these aliens, because I'm not sure if it has triggered already and if it's already accumulating, and if it takes if it works on a construction cycle, or if I have to get in closer. Maybe one way to check that is let's just run a whole construction cycle right now. Let's save. Let's save before we do that. I should actually, what I'm probably going to do is, this episode has been going on a long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the recording now. I know it was a big build up and we didn't actually get to do any combat, but you'll just have to be patient. And I want to double check and do a bit of math on my signals intelligent range and see what range I need to be to actually get any information from these guys. So that'll be it for now. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Take care.